not result. I love just process, and like process just enjoying with joyful not result. I love just process, and like process just enjoying with joyful not result. Final. Text 1. Repository, 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 repository. Definition: a place or container in which large quantities of something are stored. Part of speech and sentence: the sea is a rich repository of natural resources. 2. Aridity, 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 aridity. Definition: excessively dry, specifically having insufficient rainfall to support agriculture. Part of speech and sentence: they include hypoxia, intense ultraviolet radiation, cold, aridity, and a limited nutritional base. 3. Unequivocally / unequivocal, unequivocally, 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 unequivocally. Definition: completely clear, and without any possibility of doubt. Part of speech, ADJ sentence: he stated unequivocally that the forces were ready to go to war. 4. Desolate, 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 desolate. Definition: someone who is desolate feels very sad and lonely. Part of speech, ADJ sentence: it was a completely desolate area, like a desert. 5. Contaminated, 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 contaminated. Definition: water, food, etc. that is contaminated has had a harmful substance added to it. Part of speech, the sentence: she was infected with AIDS as a result of a contaminated blood transfusion. Novel 1. Potentially, 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 potentially. Definition: something that is potentially dangerous, useful, etc. is not dangerous, etc. now, but may become so in the future. Part of speech, ADV sentence: money in Chinese basketball is potentially big. 2. Endure. Definition: to be in a difficult or painful situation for a long time without complaining. Part of speech, the sentence: the hut will not endure a storm. 3. Particular. Definition: special, or this, and not any other. Part of speech, ADJ sentence: he is very particular about punctuality. 4. Influence, influence, influence. Definition: the power to affect the way someone or something develops, behaves, or thinks without using direct force or orders. Part of speech and sentence: the king expand his sphere of influence. 5. Reluctant, 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 reluctant. Definition: slow and unwilling. Part of speech, ADJ sentence: I am reluctant to help him, or I hate to help him. All. 1. Sufficient, 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 sufficient. Definition: as much as is needed for a particular purpose. Part of speech, ADJ sentence: I would ask whether that is sufficient. 2. Substitute, 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 substitute. Definition: someone who does someone else's job for a limited period of time, especially in a sports team or school. Part of speech, the sentence: you can't substitute to fit your taste. 3. Subsidy, 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 subsidy. Definition: financial assistance. Part of speech and sentence: the government subsidy has been drastically slashed. 4. subsequent definition happening or coming after something else. Part of speech. A DJ sentence. His predictions in subsequent years rely heavily on this prediction. 5. Subordinate definition, in a less important position than someone else. Part of speech. A DJ sentence. Why has Mr. Byron been pushing his subordinates so hard? Text. 1. Senior citizen definition. Someone who is over 60 years old, or who is retired. Part of speech and sentence. A senior citizen was out hosing down his car. 2. Drastic definition. Extreme and sudden. Part of speech. A DJ sentence. This situation calls for a drastic measure. 3. Dramatic definition. Great and sudden. Part of speech. A DJ sentence. It's the most painful thing, and the most dramatic thing. 4. Trend definition. A general tendency in the way a situation is changing or developing. Part of speech and sentence. What trend is popular in styling these days? 5. Burden definition. Something difficult or worrying that you are responsible for. Part of speech. N. V sentence. This has somewhat eased me away of my burden. Novel. 1. Enlighten definition. To provide someone with information and understanding. To explain the true facts about something to someone. Part of speech. V sentence. I am sure that he will enlighten us about that. 2. Inevitable definition. Certain to happen and impossible to avoid. Part of speech. A DJ sentence. This oblivion is both painful and inevitable. 3. Intrigue definition. A secret plan to do something, especially something that will harm another person. Part of speech. N. V sentence. He has much skill in intrigue. 4. Extensive definition. Large in size, amount, or degree. Containing or dealing with a lot of information and details. Part of speech. A DJ sentence. The menu is rather extensive here. 5. Grasp definition. To take and hold something firmly. To completely understand a fact or an idea, especially a complicated one. Part of speech. V sentence. The problem is beyond my grasp. All. 1. Sphere definition. A ball shaping a particular area of activity, work, knowledge, etc. Part of speech and sentence. Teaching them is in my sphere. 2. Specify definition. To state or describe something clearly and exactly. Part of speech. V sentence. Could you kindly specify the organizational structure? 3. Somewhat definition. More than a little but not very. Part of speech. ADV sentence. The jeans almost fit, but they are somewhat tight. 4. So-called definition. The opinion of a so-called expert. Part of speech a DJ sentence. They have been trying to capitalize on the long-standing so-called special relationship between the two countries. 5. Simulate, 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 simulate definition to make or produce something that is not real, but has the appearance or feeling of being real. Part of speech v sentence. He simulated the speech of an Englishman. Sequence, 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 sequence. A series of related things or events. This unit is about the sequence of tenses. Radical, 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 radical. The root part, a basic principle. The announcement was radical, rapid and far-reaching. Rational, 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 rational. Having reason or understanding. Don't be too upset to be rational when it is teetering on the brink. Revolution, revolution, revolution. A complete change in ways of thinking. The time was ripe. Revolution. Strategy, 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 strategy. Our strategy will serve two ends. Text 1. Rivalry, 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 rivalry. Definition: a situation in which two or more people, teams, or companies are competing for something. Sentence: there's fierce rivalry to get the job. 2. Rift, 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 rift. Definition: a situation in which two people or groups have had a serious disagreement and begun to dislike and not trust each other. Sentence: critical events can bring siblings together or deepen an existing rift. According to a study by psychologists of the university, she has always had a rift with her sister-in-law. 3. Estrangement, 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 estrangement. Definition: separation resulting from hostility. Sentence: a man who hadn't spoken with his sister in 20 years described their estrangement as a festering sore. The misunderstanding had caused a 7-year estrangement between them. 7. 4. Proximity, 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 proximity. Definition: formal nearness in distance or time. Sentence: Cicerelli says that proximity is not crucial to a strong relationship later in life. 5. Validate, 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 validate. Definition: formal to prove that something is true or correct, or to make a document or agreement officially and legally acceptable. Sentence: a sibling can help retrieve a memory and validate our experiences. So there is an opportunity to validate. Novel. 1. Facilitate, 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 facilitate. Definition: to make it easier for a process or activity to happen. Sentence: to facilitate my adjustment, the principal arranged for us to meet my new teacher. 2. Obtain, 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 obtain. Definition: to get something that you want, especially through your own effort, skill, or work. Sentence: my mother planned to obtain her diploma. 3. Impress, 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 impress. Definition: to make someone feel admiration and respect. Sentence: he had left us with the distinct impression that America was his second home. 4. Pursue, 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 pursue. Definition: to continue doing an activity or trying to achieve something over a long period of time. Sentence: I always share gratitude for being able to pursue my hopes and dreams. 5. Attribute, 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 attribute. Definition: to believe or say that a situation or event is caused by something. Sentence: having an education ranked far below more desirable attributes. Conventional beauty is her only attribute. All. 1. Theme definition: the main subject or idea in a piece of writing, speech, film, etc. Sentence: the book's theme is the conflict between love and duty. 2. Transport. Definition: a system or method for carrying passengers or goods from one place to another. Sentence: improved rail transport is essential for business. 3. Trace. Definition: to find someone or something that has disappeared by searching for them carefully. Sentence: she had given up all hope of tracing her missing daughter. 4. Transmit. Definition: to send or pass something from one person, place, or thing to another. Sentence: the ceremony was transmitted live by satellite to over 50 countries. 5. Underlie. Definition: to be the cause of something, or be the basic thing from which something develops. Sentence: the one basic principle that underlies all of the party's policies. These ideas underlie much of his work. Novel. 1. Extended. Definition: made longer or bigger. Sentence: the computer uses extended memory. 2. Minimize. Definition: to reduce something that is difficult, dangerous, or unpleasant to the smallest possible amount or degree. Sentence: he always tried to minimize his own faults, while exaggerating those of others. 3. Ritual. Definition: to make someone feel admiration and respect. Sentence: try to minimize mental sort of anxiety, or mental suffering. 4. Intersperse. Definition: to continue doing an activity, or trying to achieve something over a long period of time. Sentence: I always share gratitude for being able to pursue my hopes and dreams. 5. Affluence. Definition: having a lot of money, or owning a lot of things, rich. Sentence: he didn't know what hunger was, as he lived in affluence. Text. 1. Distinctive. Definition: having a special quality, character, or appearance that is different and easy to recognize. Sentence: the lion dance is one of China's most distinctive cultural arts. 2. Seldom. Definition: very rarely, or almost never. Sentence: Karen had seldom seen him so angry. 3. Propensity. Definition: formula, natural tendency to behave in a particular way. Sentence: the economists studied the public's propensity to save. 4. Mediator, 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 mediator. Definition: a person or organization that tries to end a quarrel between two people, groups, countries, etc. by discussion. Sentence: the conflict was resolved with the courtesy of a neutral mediator. 5. Compromise, 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 compromise. Definition: an agreement that is achieved after everyone involved accepts less than what they wanted at first, or the act of making this agreement. Sentence: there is no room for compromise. All. 1. Undertake, 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 undertake. Definition: to accept that you are responsible for a piece of work and start to do it. Sentence: all right. I will undertake the work. 2. Utilize, 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 utilize. Definition: the usefulness of something, especially in a practical way. Sentence: the vitamins come in a form that is easily utilized by the body. 3. Vehicle, 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 vehicle. Definition: formula, machine with an engine that is used to take people or things from one place to another, such as a car, bus, or truck. Sentence: the vehicle is parked in the showroom. 4. Violate, 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 violate. Definition: to disobey or do something against an official agreement, law, principle, etc. Sentence: people who violate the law should have to pay a penalty for it rather than being rewarded. 5. Whereas, 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 whereas. Definition: while on the contrary. Sentence: some of the studies show positive results, whereas others do not. Novel. 1. Deprive, 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 deprive. Definition: not having the things that are necessary for a comfortable or happy life. Sentence: he was deprived of his freedom. 2. Embarked, 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 embarked. Definition: 1. Go on board. 2. Set out on an enterprise or subject of study. 3. Proceed somewhere despite the risk of possible dangers. Sentence: she quit her job and embarked on her own business. 3. Perseverance, 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 perseverance. Definition: determination to keep trying to achieve something in spite of difficulty. Sentence: perseverance is the first essential to success. 4. Turmoil, 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 turmoil. Definition: a state of confusion, excitement, or anxiety. Sentence: one Japanese automaker went through much turmoil during the last few years. 5. Staunch, 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 staunch. Definition: giving strong loyal support to another person, organization, belief, etc. Sentence: I was your staunchest advocate. Text. 1. Fascinate, 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 fascinate. Definition: cause to be interested, or curious to render motionless, as with a fixed stare, or by arousing terror or awe attract, cause to be enamored. Sentence, water holds a fascination for most children. 2. Determine, 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 determine. Definition, to find out the facts about something. If something determines something else, it directly influences or decides it. Sentence, it is literally to determine. 3. Significant, 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 significant. Definition, having an important effect or influence, especially on what will happen in the future. Sentence, the success is significant for your future. 4. Integrate, 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 integrate. Definition, to mix with and join society, or a group of people, often changing to suit their way of life, habits, and customs. Sentence, these words were often integrated into the original language. 5. Autonomy, 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 autonomy. Definition, freedom that a place or an organization has to govern or control itself. Sentence, the angry factory workers were demanding autonomy. All. 1. Suspend, 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 suspend. Definition, to officially stop something from continuing, especially for a short time. Sentence, Sasai urged South Korea to suspend all projects near Dokdo. 2. Sustain, 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 sustain. Definition, to make something continue to exist or happen for a period of time. Sentence, Japan can't get its people to reproduce enough to sustain their economy. 3. Terminate, 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 terminate. Definition, to cause something to end or stop. Sentence, the CIA has assigned a special agent to terminate the terrorist leader. 4. Whereby definition, by means of which or according to which. Sentence, he underwent an operation whereby a tube was inserted after making a 2 to 3 centimeters incision in the waist area. 2-3. 5. Widespread, 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 widespread. Definition, existing, or happening in many places or situations, or among many people. Sentence, widespread flooding has resulted in over 100 deaths. 100.